This podcast is brought to you by Dental and Vision. When employees see the value, they buy value. That's why positioning Aflac's dental and vision plans isn't just smart, it's strategic. Start with what they need, better smiles, clearer vision, and finish with what they deserve, full protection with Aflac. Welcome back to LA Legends, where Aflac pros sharpen strategies, sharpen their craft, build the next generation of leaders in the LA South market. I am Michael Fisher.
And I'm Michelle Lee. Today's episode is all about growth and leadership. So how top producers are built, how to truly analyze your book of business, and what effective leadership looks like in today's environment. And whether you're a seasoned producer, a manager, or someone looking to take your business to the next level, this conversation is packed with practical insight.
And we are joined by Mr. Charles Cravings himself, LA South, RSC. You work closely with teams. You've grown a lot of people inside of this organization. And you and I came from the same RSC in Santa Monica.
Yeah. No,
you may actually have, I don't know, maybe embarrassing stories later on. We'll see if we end up getting that.
I don't think they're ready for this.
Yeah, I don't know about that. We'll see. So yeah, let's go over to you, Michelle, first.
So let's start with just growing the top producers. From your perspective, what actually separates a top producer from the rest of the individuals in the field?
I think that there's, obviously some innate skill and like a drive inside of a person initially, but I think the connection that we end up having with the people as they come in ends up being a lot of what helps pull that out and have them see this as a potential path, being able to get into the why and really getting behind what makes them tick is, I think, a big deal with being able to essentially utilize that to help them reach their full potential.
Okay. So let's talk through a little bit of some of the habits, right, that you see those high performers. What are some of those daily, maybe weekly things that it's a habitual kind of activity, right?
Yeah.
Well, they're consistent with the activity and the follow-up. A lot of times you'll constantly hear pretty much anybody that talk about being consistent, doing and whatnot, but they're the people that actually do it. If they have something else that comes up personally in their life, they calendar it out essentially to get it back in front of them so that they can end up, attacking what they need to do.
Yeah, like basically, yeah, actually even like planning, calendaring that out. Mm-hmm. One thing I've noticed though is that you've had people on your team that you've led that, and this was a mistake I had, that are just exceptional producers. I mean, you've gotten people, a lot of, people that get to 200, 300, 400,000 in a year or two. So what are some of the things that you've done in the past to help like expand their why or even just expand like the self-belief that they have in themselves?
That's a layered question.
I know. Steve.
I think, we have to be vulnerable ourselves in the leadership side for them to be able to get a glimpse behind the curtain about what we are. And I think once they see that we're genuine, where we're coming from, it's something that allows them to now open up a bit more. And now you can end up, having those real authentic conversations. One of the things that I tell a lot of the folks on my team is, everything isn't equal opportunity. It's going to be based on what you put forth. If you're in a situation where you're doing the activity, you're doing the follow-ups, you're being consistent, you're coming to the trainings, you're showing up for yourself and your family and for the team, then we reward that more. And so when they know that, they show up and now it's just a matter of just kind of fine-tuning some of the fine-tuning and tweaking a few of the things here and there that are going to help them maximize the potential. Verbiage is huge. Tonality is huge when they're talking to people. And that's something that I kind of harp on a lot is tonality. They have to know that you're genuine, with everything that you end up doing is going to end up leading to that. And also having the mindset that we're not, I always use the cliche of the plaid checkered suit, a used car salesman that's got the pink Cadillac on the corner of the lot and says, "Hey, Michael, they've told this one for you the last 9 months. So what's it going to take to get you out a lot?" We have to be mindful that we're not that, So it's we're educating, we're consulting, and ultimately the people that we're working with are putting themselves into the plans based upon that.
So, a lot of people joining the industry, they always have this, they're gung-ho when they sign up and they're ready to begin the career. Like they're like, okay, let's do this. But most of us come from the middle, right? It's something that we actually have to work at. So how do you talk about that mindset shift, how do you work with someone who's showing up, doing the work, but isn't getting, they're not that top producer yet? Like, how do you move that individual into that next level to become a top producer? Because the want is there, maybe the skill set is there. It's not there yet. So talk us through how can you get someone from the middle to be that top producer for you?
Well, I think it's the, like you said, skill set, or are you doing the activity a lot of times is what a lot of that boils down to.
The one of the two. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the two. And so being one of the two of those things, like you let me know which one it is. Is it a skill set thing? We can tweak that. We can work with that. We can build upon that by more training, more in-person stuff, more repetition. But I still think that the people that are in the middle are kind of having that mind. I don't want to generalize completely, but it's like a lot of folks that I see that come into the business, they're like, they never thought that they would be here.
Yeah.
So, and they never thought that they would be here. There's like this whole idea, and that's something I talk about a lot, is like, hey, probably 98% of the people that work here never thought when they were a little boy or little girl, I want to be an insurance pro like Flo from Progressive, when I get big. So it's, really coming to terms with that, and that this is something that doesn't matter what you're doing. If it's something that you can get behind, you're making money, you're helping people, then it can lead to the promised land that I think a lot of us look for in a career. So being able to tap into that for those type of folks that are kind of middle of the pack initially, and then having them see opportunities. We want to end up getting people into production early. So if they're getting into production, within the first or second week, that ends up leading them to strengthens the likelihood that they'll be able to continue on. And so that's a big thing for me.
Big confidence builder, gets them moving quick. I wanted to ask you too. So, one is more of a comment. So what you just nailed was a lot of the people that we say are in the middle. When we boil it down to effectiveness or activity, I hate to say this, but it's usually activity. I mean, like in the montage that we have in our head every single week, we're like, oh my gosh, I was pounding phones, knocking on doors, getting no's. And it's like, when we actually look back, it's like, okay, well, how much should we actually do? So measuring that's important. That's big. When I want to ask you, if you could give yourself some advice as like an early producer, when you started out way back when in Santa Monica, in your first 90 days, what would you tell yourself? Like, of just being like, hey, I need to focus on this.
There's so many things.
Run, get out.
One would be, don't be a star agent. I was, when I started with you in Santa Monica, like 12 years ago, it was a situation where I literally had a 3-ring binder for Santa Monica, El Monte, Sherman Oaks, Lakewood, and Pomona.
Yes.
And so I was going to these spots.
Magical spots.
It was literally like, you're going boom over here, and it's like your day's done after 5 elevations and stuff. So that would be something I would say not to do that, to maybe dominate a zip code, dominate an area.
Yeah.
Every business in that zip code should know who you are. It was just like, man, I think going to the office early on to start your day was something that changed everything for me. I came from a situation where I was managing the team before, and after the way I left there, I didn't want to do it anymore. So I just want to be a solo lone wolf, do my thing, and I had enough, I think, talent to produce with doing that, but it was something where I needed to show up to the office every day, and that's when I started realizing that opportunities started coming your way. People are more familiar with who you are.
Yeah.
They're seeing kind of what you do. They hear you on the phone, and they say you get advice on stuff you're not doing great. You're getting complimented for stuff that you are doing that's solid, and it ends up being something where it's like, man, okay, if I do this, I have to calendar out everything and follow my calendar. So now it's like the old adage, right? If it's not on my calendar, it's not going to get done.
Yep.
Facts.
Yep. No, but I think that it's huge, because it's like, you're out of sight, out of mind. And also, it's the same thing too, of having that gym mentality. If you're showing up to an office, it makes you do something, or at least like inside of your head, you're like, okay, like I'm making a conscious decision to do nothing, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say to that also, it's like there was several times that either market director, my RSC, maybe my district would end up saying, hey, I got 3 new hires that need to get met with for the person that sets the next appointment. It's like, you're there, you're like, okay, now I'm motivated even more. So let me do that and get those little opportunities. Cause every week that we can do this, where we can, it strengthens the likelihood that we're going to be able to get over that hump and be able to turn this into a career and then maximize an income and work-life balance.
Yeah.
Pretty
Dropped the
spot
mic.
on.
Yeah. Yeah. That was awesome.
We're good.
Yeah.
When we're looking at top producers as well, a lot of times, and we've talked about this, like, oh, you're doing so good, let's move them on up.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not the right move. Just taking a look at the big picture and things and being the position you are in today. What is a mistake that you think that we kind of make when it comes to trying to grow those producers?
I think that's getting, they're getting, we have to look at the person. Like, I'm going to give an example. Tammy Johnson. So
love Tammy.
Yeah, Tammy.
Shout out Tammy.
Yeah, Tammy started with me, and she had no intention of doing this. She just wanted to get certification, but just have another license under her belt. She was, in the real estate game. And so she was like, Charles, I'll do this a little bit, and then so it's like showing them what they can do, what's possible, what's out there and everything. And so it's something where she's told me, I don't want to move up and be in management. But I want her to be, because I think she has leadership skills, and so it's one of those type of things where I think we have to look at what that person is in it for. We always talk about the why. So what are their ultimate goals and personal and professional that they're trying to accomplish and stuff. And I think that she's good with being able to run meetings and doing stuff. And she's essentially told me that, hey, I'm going to let you know when I feel like I'm in that space. And that's something where I don't want to push that, because a person like that you push out of something that they don't want to do can end up leading them to not really doing anything at all. And I think that that's something where we have to look at everybody on the team as a role. What is that role? And let's maximize them in that position, and then show them what other stuff could be, so that they can end up making a more informed decision when that time comes.
Agreed. I mean, those are in what you've done. And she's a perfect example of somebody that you understanding her and spend the time with her, and then also just having that level of authenticity, and that she knows that you have her back through thick and thin. And last year, just as a producer, she did what, like 400, right?
332,000.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, did pretty good.
Yeah, so that's so I think that the way that you actually do that with your team has been just really cool for me to watch.
Start your week strong with the Monday morning meeting. Tune in for team accolades that celebrate success, contests that keep you motivated, and announcements that keep you ahead. Don't just start your Monday, own it with the Monday morning meeting.
I had a lot of producers on my team that would write 150 to, right around NASB, 150 to 200 grand. I didn't coach to superstar level. And I think that that's something that you've been able to do, is actually get people to see that like superstar in themselves and utilize their own assets in a really positive way. And I think it's not easy to do, by the way.
Well, I want to make it clear, it's not all me. And a lot of them come into this with a different skill set. You got support from the districts and just like the collective team. Culturally speaking, I think that's a lot of it, is that part of our culture that we have with our team is that we talk about family, both figurative, because it's cliche. Everybody says, I have a family.
Yeah.
Family. It's cliche, right? So it's a figurative mindset for most, but for us, it's figurative as well as literal. And, when you end up becoming friends with people on your team, when you end up really genuinely caring about what they end up having going outside of here, I think that that's something that resonates with them, and you can end up having those situations where when tough conversations are needed, it's something where it's better received, because they know that it's not just hey, how much AP did you write today? And it's funny because we had a joke a couple of years ago with David Hernandez and stuff. I would always end up saying, so how much AP you writing today? You gonna go back for some more tomorrow?
Yeah, love that.
That's awesome.
Man. No, and your team, absolutely. You feel it when you walk through the door. It is a family. Also, your team's funny as hell, man.
Always a good time.
Always
those,
a good time.
Those kickoffs that you've been having.
Yeah.
We try.
Yeah, you got to be proud of that. During one of your kickoffs, it actually is a good segue. You were talking about positioning, dental and vision, and how you actually look at the book of business. So, like, if you could give. And honestly, use this as your platform too, to, remind your team of what they need to do. But I mean, some of the expectations that you're putting around the book of business this year, I thought were really exciting. So, share some of your knowledge.
I don't know if I'd call it knowledge, but I'll do my best. But I would say that a slogan in there is just funny. Anybody that's the TV show The Wire is like literally my favorite TV show ever.
Joe.
And I didn't even realize when I was talking to the team that that I made a wire reference, but everything is connected. And so when we look at that, looking at being able to go into your book, you're going to end up having several. I'm pretty analytical. I'm an owl. So several of the accounts that you'll end up having in your book that might not have a cafeteria plan. You can kind of do whatever you want to do with those, but you can't do dental and vision. So we want to look at about 80% of our existing book that we would end up running a quote for dental and vision to kind of spur on that excitement in that meeting. You get dental and vision into any of your accounts, you know what, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 20 is going to end up converting to bringing it on board. But now each of those enrollments that we go to, we're writing several $1,000s more on other Aflac business. Now it's a part of the way we're getting paid and hitting fame now. So it's also something everybody has to kind of get on board with. When you go to an enrollment, over the years I've been doing it, you know, you go in and I've probably only had 6 enrollments that went perfect. The way that it's just amazing. I felt like there was something wrong because it went so good. Outside of that, we have to expect that we're not going to get in front of all the people. So you have a 50-man account. Maybe you get to 25 to 30 people because you're going to have those people that are appearing behind the door that are trying to avoid you, that don't want to meet with you. But now bringing the second and third most requested benefit brings several of those folks over. So if we were going to be at 25 people seeing, now we get to 35. Now we get to 40. And now I feel that if I sit down with anybody and I'm talking to them about their benefits, that if they sit down with me, they're getting something. My team knows the way I say it actually, but I'm just on here. I'm just, but I'm getting something. And that should be the mindset that we have every time that we sit down with someone, that if I get these products put in there, that's going to end up bringing a stronger likelihood for them to come sit with me. Then now we're getting more out of the situation than what we were doing before. And it creates a stickiness to where if you're offering that, it makes it harder for them not to let you back in again next year because you got to go re-enroll it again next year. Renewals end up being stronger with the dental and vision because a lot of people end up wanting it. And now it just creates those type of conditions. And if we get a defined contribution, where if you guys look at the cost of like vision 2 or 3, it's like per month, like what, $8-9 a month. That's a defined contribution right there that can be low hanging fruit that a business owner can feel like, okay, I'm doing something for the team. But now because we're doing that, everybody there has to get the plan. So now we have a darn near 100% participation outside of whoever already has an existing coverage with a spouse or independent plan or anything like that. And we end up now sitting down with everybody. And now they're getting more regular Aflac as well too. And we're sticky, and they just looking at the businesses like that is in a way. And I wanted to say something too on our team. Last year, we ended up having only about 34% of our production last year was tied to book of business. That's foreign territory for me personally. And so we're collectively working on bringing that back up. As a district, I pretty consistently was about 65 to 75% of my book was of my number was existing book. So it's something that we're writing a good amount on every account you go to, and you're building relationships. And it's important. I think when you look at the book, something sometimes I get mad at the previous administration with not letting some of the accounts that I had fostered, and it turned into a great situation. But don't be afraid to approach the accounts that we're talking about. New hire strategy. One of the things that I ended up doing for the last like 5-6 years was I had in the range of 5 to 15 different accounts that were having new hires every month. Nice. They just started sending me a list. Either they say, hey, come every 15th of the month or whatever date in the month that we choose. And we just go and meet with whoever. Sometimes it's 3 people, sometimes it's 15. And it's a great way for us to be able to take those middle level as well as our top producers and allowing them to end up seeing how you enroll. They make some money from it as a part of some paid training that we're trying to do.
It's like a paid training almost. Yeah, it's a great way to position that. And it's a for leaders out there, it's a guaranteed set piece that you have in your calendar every single month that takes a little bit of pressure off.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to go back and underscore something that you just said that I think is really important. A lot of people get gun shy about defined contribution. It's an old Aflac thing. For some reason, everybody at Aflac was like, oh, let's just like make it way more difficult and let's say it's all free. And then we have to sell one person at a time. But you were talking about using vision as a defined contribution benefits. You know, this is for somebody, if they've never had the defined contribution benefit conversation. Well, first, please just come to sales school, listen to our videos and all that kind of stuff. But the other one, though, is the price tag of a vision plan on a monthly basis, if you can't ask for $9 a month for an employer to pay for a benefit, which is the third most requested benefit, vision is behind dental, which is number 2, that is such a no-brainer conversation. You talked about that 50-man group. So 9 times 50, that's $450. If you have 50 employees, $450 is not a big dollar amount to be spending on your staff.
If they talk to their tax pro, they could probably write that off too.
Yeah, they'll write that off. What that did is it got them a benefit paid for, and it got you access to 100% of 100% of the employee population. I think vision as a defined benefit is one that we're just missing, because I feel like we go dental and then we'd go nothing else behind that. So I think that your strategy with the vision one it's a big takeaway for people.
Attracting and keeping the best talent means offering more than just a paycheck. Aflac Value Added Services delivers real-life support for your team. Financial wellness through BrightDime provides employees with the real-time, holistic financial picture to help improve spending habits, create budgets, and tackle debt reduction. Employees can keep track of all financial accounts so they can set goals and track progress towards establishing financial security. Aflac Value Added Services, because supporting your team means supporting their whole well-being.
I think shoot for the stars. Things don't go your way, you land on the moon. Either way, you're still in outer space, and you're further than where you were before. So it's something I think we have to, use the scope of work and using the charts that we end up having that Michelle has created for us has been something where just follow the path. It's like the yellow brick road to success. If you end up following it, it kind of forces you to end up having a conversation. If you're afraid of the business owner, decision maker, you can show them what you're looking at there and just say, hey, this is what I got to talk about next. So I think it's important for them to know, the business owner, decision maker, one, don't have this conversation with it needs to be the owner, the person that's going to sign the check. Can't be talking to the spouse. You can't be talking to the gatekeeper or anything like that, or office manager. It needs to be the right person that's going to sign the check. You're having that conversation. Then now let's just put it out there on what most businesses like yours do. Most business owners are doing this. I'd say, I'm not telling you to lie and put a stat on it and say 68% of all business owners.
Well, they're listed on that site seller.
Yeah. But I'm also that's correct. But I'm also talking about sometimes industry specific types. You may not know that stat. So it's like if you're, saying, hey, look, this is the stats. I'm not quite sure the numbers here, but I'm from what I hear, they're higher or whatever. And then now we're having that conversation where they're saying, okay, I see this as being something other folks are doing. So they see like that we have the 3 different tiers. Start at the top. What I'm seeing a lot of times is people starting at the bottom one because they're afraid of the conversation. Start at the top and present it, and then shut up.
Shut up.
See what they say.
Yes. Stop talking.
See what they say.
I love that.
And then from there, it opens up the conversation. But a lot of us that go in there saying, hey, free or doesn't cost you anything, that's your only way of doing anything. You have nowhere to fall if you end up starting off like that. Start high, shut up, see what they say, and then based on their response, then you end up being able to kind of pivot from there.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, but starting at the top of it. And I believe a lot of times it's the confidence in having that conversation. And we talked about earlier about top producers and how do you get yourself in position to be a top producer. It's in that practice, that repetition, that activity. The more you actually talk about it and study it, you can start at the top versus starting at the bottom in contribution or leading with vision and knowing that you can still add to it. And it's not just asking for one. I don't know why we sell ourselves short so often thinking we can't ask for more.
I think it's something I've been saying for years is we put ourselves in the person's in their shoes as though we're their spouse. So it's like if I'm talking to, it's like, I wouldn't pay that. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't pay, $30 a month for 50 people. I may not do that, but it doesn't mean that this person might not. So I need to present it as such, need to say it with my chest. I need to speak with conviction, need to be confident because people buy from me they like. And if you're not someone that they like, or you're not sounding that you're sure of yourself, then it's going to be shaky, and they're going to say, hey, thanks for coming. At 15 minutes is up, right? Okay, great. Now where do you go?
I'll tell you, like, firsthand, when I, had $9 in my bank account and I was 20, when I would have employees that I'd be nervous about asking about the accident. Like, you just can't bring that to that meeting. Now that you're a RSC, you can even say this firsthand, the amount of money that you spend on drinks in your office, and every
wild.
employer, it's or paying for catering on one of your kickoffs. I mean, that's catering on one kickoff is what, $700? Is that like about that?
700-800.
Yeah. So that's less than basically 6 months of a benefit for, a 20-man group. So so that's the crazy part, that we just need our team to understand that it's that price tag for a business owner. It's actually nothing. Like it's less than an Uber Eats fee for them.
Just to add some to that I also talk about a lot with the team is that, like, the when we end up having those misconceptions that business owners or people at companies might have of us, hey, your car insurance, we're not. Hey, your medical insurance, we're not. We have to also take with that what they're telling us subliminally, that they're expecting a price to match that of medical insurance. So just one of the things I wanted to kind of touch on was when we end up going into these accounts or we're talking to decision makers, there is often that misconception of them seeing us as car insurance, which we don't, which we're not. Medical insurance, we're not. But what they're subliminally telling us without actually using the words is that they think that we're the same price as medical insurance. So if you're looking at hundreds and hundreds of dollars in medical insurance, maybe even thousands, this is the perception that they're seeing for them, for what this is. And so we should not ever be afraid to talk about defined contribution, because it's a drop in the bucket in terms of cost. You're talking about any of our plans for the week, somewhere between $4 to $12 a week. So it's super inexpensive. So they could layer on a few different things to do that. And I think we oftentimes think that, okay, this is expensive. No, it's expensive to you because you're looking at ABC rates and you think, oh, this is expensive. It's not. They're thinking we're medical insurance.
Yeah.
$500 a month versus 29 or 50, $55. It's like, it's nothing.
The crazy one, and just to support that, it was one of my DSCs, they brought this to my attention, was that they're like, they are expecting you to say $500 a month. That's per employee. And when you say 50, they're or 100 even, they're just like, the relief. It's actual relief. So, I mean, I always think about,
you hear that's it?
Yeah. It's like when I'm getting sold, I love that moment because it's so rare. Like, you're like, oh man, this is great. But this is going to cost, $10,000. And
for the small price of 3 payments of.
So that's huge, man, and really, really good takeaways. And I think that the confidence that you have your team, just even practicing, it's like if you're doing sales practice, say like in the office or whatever, practice with confidence. Practice because if they'll see it, and if you do it again and again and again, you're just you feel good, you feel right, and they'll start saying yes more and more and more. So that's it's a huge one.
We should expect the yes.
Expect something close.
It's crazy if they don't. Yeah. It's crazy.
Telling you that practice builds that confidence.
It does.
Makes a real difference, especially when you go out, and it's such a safe space to do it in the regional office or just before you walk in, because you get I'd say this all the time, the marbles out of your mouth.
Yeah.
And you get that you build that muscle memory, you know what I mean? So when you actually go and do with someone else who doesn't know what you're saying to begin with, you actually feel that confidence to do so. You want to move to?
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, we're moving to, it's already towards the end, Charles. I told you to go fast.
Yeah.
Super quick.
Yeah, so fast, right? We'll get you back on for more. This was awesome. So we're going to move to the rapid fire questions, which is always a fun one.
Oh, man.
I actually have one. This one's very specific for me. So if you had one character in The Wire that represents your spirit,
That's a great question.
What character would it be?
Probably Stringer.
Ooh, okay.
Probably Stringer.
Love that. Yeah, I'm Barksdale.
There's a Lake Barksdale too, but
we love them off.
Yeah. And then what season,
Yeah, what season? Yeah, because season 1 Barksdale.
As a kid, I was Michael in the I think it was season 2. Used to rent them cars at Enterprise.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, we lost half the audience that hasn't seen The Wire.
So, a best concert or event you've ever been to?
Geez, that's a good one too. End up saying Lauryn Hill. at and Erykah Badu at the Hollywood Bowl, but
great
Lauryn Hill
venue.
didn't show up.
Totally adds up. I was in my head. I was like, "Wow, you saw Lauren, and it's more Erykah Badu time." That's
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. It's fine.
That's awesome. Okay, so two quick ones. So one is the billboard question. So if you had a billboard on Long Beach Boulevard that your team had to see to and from your office, what would that billboard say to your team?
Everything's connected.
Yeah,
I'd have to say that.
That's definitely your mantra, the motto for the year.
yeah, it's on the wall.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so the last thing is just any final parting thoughts. Is anything you want to share with the team, get off your chest?
Yeah, Affleck just bumped up the percentage from 300 to 400%, and we're starting off the year slower than I would like, but it's something that I think that we have to have it to lock in and focus in on the 400%. So be a 400%er.
Be a 400%er.
Yeah.
Well said.
Make those 400% choices because, it's one thing saying it. It's another thing making those choices. I will say I'm lucky to have leaders like you that are pushing their team to do it because it's not glamorous, but it's worth it and it's possible. So great conversation. And Michelle, I'm going to let you wrap us up.
Charles, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your insight about being a top producer, but also managing that book and losing dental and vision, right, to open the door to actually write more VB. So thank you for sharing that insight. And so for all of us joining us today, if you've enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to the LA Legends podcast, leave us a review, and share it with someone who could benefit from today's conversation.